Here we go.
All right.
Thursday, November 20th, 2025. And here we are at the Duluth Conservative. How you doing, Dave?
Surviving. Nice. We don't have 10 feet of snow, so we're doing pretty good.
Oh, God, don't even say that. The problem is it's true. We could have it already.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, let's see.
My computer says it's 40 degrees, so that means we only have 80 more degrees to get colder.
Oh,
but only 60 degrees warmer we've ever been. So
yeah, we can get 70 degrees colder, and that's a typical winter here. 30 below is
30,
what we've
yeah.
got. It's madness. Where your face hurts when you walk outside. It's a thing of beauty, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's go through what we're going to be doing on the show today. We're going to talk about a party coming up, American Experiments doing a party on December 9th. We're going to go through some Duluth news. I put a topic on here that really doesn't have a story behind it. It's just about the Duluth roads and my frustration with them. So I thought I'd talk about it because it's good for me to do that. Get it off my chest. We'll talk about some Minnesota legislation stuff, fraud again, of course, because we are in Minnesota and that's what we do here apparently now.
Yep.
We're going to take a look at the economic growth we've had since Tim Walz took over in 2019 and also migration or lack thereof in migration to Minnesota. We'll go through some Minnesota news. We'll talk about where our tax dollars are going, a special election in Wayzata for a new school, and you're going to be blown away by how much it's going to cost if they pass it. What we're going to be seeing in property taxes. We're going to go into national news, and we will touch on the Epstein files being released and what that means. We'll talk a little bit about something I just bugs me is current New York Mayor Eric Adams and what he was saying in a foreign country. We'll talk a little about digital IDs. We'll talk about international news. You added something here about the government slowing down your car without your permission. And we'll do some health and fitness in the word of the day. And the word of the day preview is propaganda. So we're going through that. How's it sound? Sound like a good lineup tonight?
I think it's a lot, but I think we can make it.
We are at 10 pages, but most of those are pictures. Just like most of the books I read in high school, they're mostly pictures.
Yep, pop-ups.
Okay. Well, let's start it off with promoting the American Experiment Party. And we have an image for this. So it's going to be December 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's $15. There's usually some pretty good food. The American Experiment, if you're not familiar with it, is a group that is nonpartisan. They speak to Republican groups, Democrat groups, liberals, conservatives. They don't care. They're nonpartisan. And they do have what would be considered probably a conservative slant for what they think is the right thing. And they're just trying to put out there what the direction that the government should be going or the people in Minnesota should be thinking about. They had a whole thing on Minnesota Doge a few months ago. I thought was very good. So I don't know what to expect here at the Christmas party, but I'm starting to know these guys and they're pretty nice. So if you're interested, go to theamericanexperiment.com/events. Here's a number here that we're displaying on the screen and person to contact.
And it's nonpartisan, not like the Duluth City Council, but an actual nonpartisan.
When you say nonpartisan here, it actually means they don't have a stake in the ground.
Correct.
All right. I came across a term today. This is all stuff we're going to do before we go into Duluth news. I just threw a couple things on here. Treating America like a commuter country. So what that means is people from other countries will come here just to make a lot of money and then go back to their own place. People aren't treating this anymore like it's its own nation with its own identity. You look at us as a way to make money, to come in and get resources, and then send it back home, and then to go back home when the going gets tough, or they just don't like it here anymore.
Right.
Problem with us natives to American is we don't have a place to do that. We don't have a place to go and then come back to. This is all we have. So with Donald Trump and the Trump administration exporting illegal aliens from this country, cutting off the support system where they can send money back, curtailing the H-1B visa program. This is all stuff for us as Americans. That's who it's for. And that's who our president's looking out for. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I like the term commuter country. I thought that hit it right on the head. Any thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that work at financial institutions where almost on a daily basis, they're sending money to foreign countries, back to the people's parents, relatives who are working here. So it's not just it's an actual thing. And we can document it. So we know that it's a very true statement.
Yeah.
So and that needs to stop.
Yes. The last thing in this segment before we go into Duluth stuff is it's apparently Transgender Week of Awareness, and it was Day of Remembrance today. And I bring this up only in the fact that I'm so tired of having to hear about this. This is a niche thing that very few people participate in. Why it is being thrown up to us. This is like 6 years straight now of this stuff. I could come on here and talk about saunas all day long, go through their history, who uses them. I could go through Roman history. This is vastly interesting to me. We could go through all the things. July. Oh, that's a month named after Julius Caesar. August. That's a month named after Augustus Caesar. All very fascinating to me and a lot of people. But you know what? A lot of people just don't care. It's not that they hate it. It's not that it's not interesting. It's just they don't care. That's the same thing for this. Do we have to see this all the time? Can we just cut it off now? Do your transgender thing. Stay away from the kids. Do your thing. And just leave us out of it.
Right.
I think back to the old days when we were kids and they didn't talk about this. And it was nice.
Yeah, now for some reason it's all about going after the kids. It's not even about transgender. It's about, we never talked about this.
This is the only thing that makes me angry about it. Otherwise, I don't care about it at all.
Right. If you're an adult and you want to play dress up, that's fine. One, don't make me believe it. And two, stay away from kids.
Yeah, right. You follow those criteria, we're good. Yeah. We have no issues whatsoever.
We don't care.
Right. And you know what? If you want to go into the women's bathroom, I think the women have to figure that out. I can tell you I'm not for it. I wouldn't want my daughter in. I wouldn't want my wife in there. I wouldn't want my mom in there with you in there. And I'll stand up to you, but the women have to lead this fight. And if they're okay with having the guys in there, then, maybe there should be a separate place that we don't have to have that so that women can be safe, feel safe, and not have to feel like they're being stared at. Because you know what? I hate to tell you this. You have all these great feelings about why you're doing it, and you're all altruistic about it. There are just simply some creepy men who just want to look at naked women and will say anything they have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, even Joy Reid, the commentator from MSNBC, she is a hardcore Democrat, and she just came out a few days ago about keep the guys out of the women's locker rooms.
Right.
Very, she wasn't running around she wasn't trying to sugarcoat it. Keep the men out of the locker rooms. She doesn't want to see it.
Right.
And that's from the hardcore liberal side. So.
And it shouldn't have to be a liberal or conservative thing. You got these guys who want to play dress up. That doesn't make them a woman. Even if they get all these surgeries, it doesn't make them a woman. So go do your own thing. Go to the men's locker. We always take the crap. We take everything. The men's have to deal with all this stuff anyway. So just stick them to our locker room again. We'll mock them or laugh or whatever it's going to be. But, that's just keep them out of the women's room. They can't defend themselves as easily against a full-grown man.
And as adults, I mean, we were programmed to protect women, especially our children, our daughters. Yeah. We should be it should be a no-brainer to protect them. So keeping guys out of the locker rooms, bathrooms, It's such a simple thing.
You know, I was just thinking about that recently, and it was like, yeah, you know, when you're home, you know, all by yourself, that's one thing. But when you've got a wife or kids, your job as the husband to go make sure at night everything's locked up, everything's secure. If there's a problem, you're the one that goes investigates. That's your job. That's what you do. There's nobody else that's going to do that. If you think that's a sexist thing, that's on you, because this is what the role of the father or the husband is to protect everybody in that house. You're the first line. The mom, she's protecting the kids. You're going against the threat. God forbid they get through you. You go against a mom, she'll kill you. You're lucky to go against the guys. So, we have Thanksgiving overlays. I've just had a wandering thing go across my. I will not do that right now. Okay, let's move on to Duluth news, and we'll talk about the Duluth City Christmas City of the North Parade's coming up November 21st, which is tomorrow.
Yep.
6:30 to 8 from Fitkers to 4th Avenue East on Superior Street. Really? That's as far as it goes?
Yeah, I always thought it was longer, but that's what I checked the website, and that's the distance. So.
That's not very far. We used
to
rally. Do you remember we used to stage in the deck parking lot?
Yeah.
And then come across the bridge, and then we would start playing just when we got down to Superior Street, and we go all the way down to Fitkers.
Yeah.
That was a cold couple nights.
Because I remember practicing turns. You know, we had to go around a 90-degree corner. So
yeah, I remember trying to remember how to use my drumsticks while my hands were frozen.
Yeah,
but as bad as it was for the drummers, and we got to play the whole time, so at least we were moving. I felt really bad for the horn section. The guys that had to blow into that brass mouthpiece.
Yeah.
20 below zero. Oh man, no thanks. I don't know how you played the sax. I don't know how you did with a reed.
Well, no one could hear me anyway, so if I didn't feel like playing, I just kind of warmed up the machine and let her go.
So Perry Como wrote the song, right? The classic song you're going to hear over and over and over again if you watch this on TV.
Was it Perry Como?
Pretty sure. I think he wrote it and sang it. And now I'll do a little Google foo and find that out for sure. Perry Como. Or was it Merv Griffin?
No, they said another name that I'm drawing a blank on.
Well, we'll look it up and we'll figure out what the right thing is here. Merv Griffin. He wrote it. So not Perry Como. Honestly, I couldn't pick the other one out of a lineup because it's a little before us. So
yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, and here's another unscripted rant. I have to talk about it. So I'm coming up, was it 7th Avenue East, the one they just redid?
6th Avenue
we talked
East.
about this, the 6th?
Yeah.
And we talked about this where they'd taken it from a 2-lane to a 1-lane. And I was behind somebody going up that. They were going literally 18 miles an hour. Nobody in front of them. Right. And I was behind this person. In the old days, I would have gone to the left lane, passed them, and been on my way. But no, I'm sitting behind him, and I'm looking at this long strip of concrete and grass that's between me and where the lane used to be.
Right.
And it finally ends in a turn lane, which I don't know why you couldn't just have a lane and have people put their blinker on like, they've done forever.
Right.
And if you're in that lane, you have the option to go around them or you sit and wait. And I start to realize now I've gone onto the roads they've done, and every time they can't just you're driving on this pothole filled road and you're like, man, I just wish they'd repave it. And then you see them repaving it. You're awesome. Finally, it's going to be nice. No, they engineer it. They've got to put something in there, a roundabout, random roundabout somewhere in Duluth, a piece of concrete. I mean, there's stretches of concrete that have nothing but a sign that says there's concrete here. Go around it.
Right.
And I realize what I think is happening is because the Duluth police can't really pull anybody over anymore or enforce traffic laws, they're engineering the streets so that it's so difficult to get around and you're always blocked by other cars that you'll just naturally have to go slow. So they're doing traffic regulation by implementation as opposed to enforcement.
Correct.
That's what it seems like to me. It's crazy driving around here. I mean, if you're not from around here and you're thinking of moving to Duluth, I really strongly suggest you take a couple weeks, live in a rental place and drive around here and see if you haven't popped a gasket by the time the end of the 2 weeks, you're probably okay living here.
Yeah, because you're even coming down here tonight, I was stuck behind groups of people that were well under the speed limit. And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, we're not advocating speeding. We're advocating please get close to the speed limit.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm 5 to 10 miles an hour below the speed limit when I'm going down, going up to Arrowhead Road every night. I mean, honest to God, there's one car and they always it's like they enjoy it. So I rant to my wife all the time and she's so sick of me hearing it. But you know what? This is Transgender Day of Awareness. It's going to be my rant about the roads. I'm going to talk about the roads in Duluth, and the drivers in Duluth are excessively cautious sometimes. So
it's not winter yet.
Right. Yeah. It's a good thing to be cautious when it's winter, but my goodness, at 10 miles below the speed limit on a 45 straight stretch of road, 45 miles an hour, and you're going 35. It's just, you can't turn, you can't pass.
No.
And they have this inclination here to have when they come up to an intersection, you'll have a left turn only lane and a right turn or go straight lane and no right turn lane. So if you're turning right, you're always behind a car going straight and you're going to sit there at that intersection till the light turns green. Again, slowing down traffic. That seems to be and now and I think we have an article coming up here. There's going to be something about the Duluth City Council meeting.
Yep. On
kind
Monday.
of ties into this. They want to add 2 or more roundabouts on London Road. I don't know what the fetish is in Minnesota about roundabouts, but they're not for everything. There's some places they're good. I'm not totally against them 100%, but London Road, that's a busy road. And you're going to have people just for no reason popping around. Right by East High School too.
Yeah, the one is on 26th Avenue East and London Road, which is Black Bear Restaurant for those familiar. The other one is on 40th near the East High School. And because we're at Black Bear Restaurant is where semis get on to go up the North Shore.
Yeah.
So they have a very tough time getting around these super small roundabouts. So now you put another one at 40th. So you've just completely slowed down traffic to a dead stop. And it's a busy road and you've killed it. And that's the start of it.
26, I say it does have enough land to do a proper size roundabout, I think. Because that's already a kind of a spaghetti junction where you got some people going off to the right, some people going straight, people turning in. It's a pretty big area of land. So I think they could pull it off there. It's going to be horrible to have to drive in that during rush hour. But 40th, I don't see how they're going to do that with a proper roundabout. Like you have to be able to get to it and know somewhat if a car is going to turn or not. And they're so small, some of these things, you're just waiting the whole time. You just don't know what to do. And to be honest, for most part, people are going to be going straight down London Road. They're not going to be turning up 40th. I would say that 95% of the traffic is just going straight through that. So why would you put a roundabout there?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's and this is on the city council for Monday the 24th. So if you don't like the roundabouts, you need to go to the city council. Obviously, they're going to ignore you like Hermantown did with the data center. However, you need to go there and show your disapproval or approval, depending on what you feel. The complete maps, because they're going to add wider pedestrian lanes, more bike lanes, stuff like that. So check out the map on the city council's a website or whatever, and then either for or against it, but research it definitely.
Right. If you live out there, it's more important. If you drive that every day, or this will just affect people that are going up North Shore too.
Correct.
It's what they want to do down here, though. Remember they talked about that plan? There's a plan for to get rid of the highway going down between downtown and the lake, and having people come down Superior Street and putting roundabouts in it. I don't understand how they think that's going to work at all. That's incredible to me. So far they haven't gotten it in, but
we just need a roundabout on every single corner of downtown Duluth.
Right.
Every single one. Get rid of these stupid stoplights and
yeah, it's crazy talk. Just make sure you go around and around and around to go straight. Probably adds an extra mile.
Yeah. Turn us into England.
All right, let's move on to Minnesota legislation or legislator. Immigration fraud in Minnesota. So there's yet more. So I'm going to try to bring up the article here just so I can read it. This is from Right Angle News, and the article is about the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Edlow has revealed widespread immigration fraud among nearly half of all Somali immigrants in Minneapolis, involving forged documents, fake marriages, missing employers, and non-existent businesses profiting off tax-funded incentives. If half of them are here illegally, they should be deported.
Correct.
And that includes anybody who's currently serving in any office. And I'm looking at you, Ilion, who said, I can live anywhere. Well, if you're here illegally, and she really is, she should go. So half
pretty simple.
Half is Somalis here. And some good news. So the Minnesota House is currently split at 67-67. This is not the House. This is the Senate. 2 state senators who are authors of the Sanctuary State Bill are announcing retirement from the legislation. So good news. The good news is we have an opportunity to take over the Senate. The bad news is in these Democratic strongholds, it's very, very hard to do. Not that impossible, but it's very hard to do. And if you want to know something, you look at Natalie Zalesnikar winning the House from Mary Murphy. Mary Murphy was there for, I think, over 40 years in that position as a Democrat. And Natalie is a Republican now. She's won 2 elections in it. So it's not impossible, but it's not easy. All right. Let's move on to Tim Walz. This next article is not directly with Tim Walz, but it is. It's the report on the economy. For Minnesota's economy, it's fallen behind on nearly every measure of growth. So bring up the article here. And if you can see it, this is since 2007 to 2019. GDP growth is 18th, job growth 20th, labor force growth 22nd, per capita income growth 25th, growth in median household income 21st. So we're in Minnesota, we're averaging a good C average. We're not showing off. We're not falling behind. And then something happened in 2019. Besides the pandemic, we got Tim Walz. Now look at our numbers. We're 46th in growth in median national household income.
Right.
We're 40th in labor force growth. I mean, this is incredible numbers. And you can attribute it all to Tim Walz as governor and having a trifecta and just really, really screwing us over with the budget. Remember, we'll say this again, $18 billion surplus spent like nothing. Raised taxes another $10 billion, and we're $7 billion in debt. That's the result of having Democrats in control of all 3 House, Senate, and the governorship. And they rammed things through. They didn't care what they were spending. And it shows. And we're really, really hurting now. And we're going to talk about property taxes in a little bit, but we're really getting reamed by every single tax there is. Income tax, the county tax, the state tax, gas tax, everything they can do, they're ramping it up and they're driving people out. And I don't have the migration numbers on it, but we are losing people left and right. Oh, here's the migration this decade. And which one's Minnesota there, Dave? Can you kind of point it out?
We're in the red on the bottom, negative 47,000 people.
Right. So we're not like California, New York, but we don't have the numbers of California and New York either.
Right. And I thought this table was kind of interesting because if you look at the negative numbers where people are leaving, they're all blue states.
Yes.
If you look at all the positive, where all the top 4 states where people are going to, they're all red states. So why is that? Well, you just said it. We had a blue state trifecta where they tax and spend, and we're going to tax you more because we want to spend more and we want to have this program and that program, and we're just going to tax you out of this place, basically. Here's
the problem, though. We've got people, and I know people here that do that. They will vote for the Democrats no matter what.
Right.
You telling them their policies, they're totally against those policies, but they still won't vote for anybody other than the Democrat. And then it gets to a point where it's really hard to live in a state because they're putting all their social programs out and they're trying to fund everything, and they keep taking more and more and more. Not only are they increasing your property tax percentage, they're increasing the value of your house. So they're double hitting you on that unrealized gain. Then if the people who have enough money that really doesn't affect as much, but they're starting to feel the pain, well, they move to a different state.
Yeah.
And the first thing they do is say, you know what? I like it here, but it's not progressive enough. And we have to start getting in some policies that we were doing back home. And it just keeps cycling over and over again. That's the problem. And when we were living in Hawaii, it was one of those things. We didn't like people from California. I didn't have much to say because I was a new resident there, but I could tell the locals, they'd tell me, people from California and Seattle are the worst. First thing they do when they move here is they try to change everything to be like California and Seattle.
Right.
And that's the policies. The same people will complain about property taxes, complain about the price of food, and then vote those people in that are the cause of those increases in prices.
Yeah, and you also notice that Hawaii was on that negative list too. So people are leaving in droves from Hawaii because, they got rid of your Second Amendment rights. The taxes are high.
It's really a high cost of living. And the really unfortunate thing is there's people that have lived there for generations.
Yeah.
And they get a big, they can have a 900 square foot house made out of concrete built in the 1950s with a metal roof. If you were to buy that here, it would be probably around now like 90,000 to 100,000. They will get offers for upwards to $1 million for that house. And sooner or later, when you're not making any money and you're living in debt and you get that cherry given to you, you'll take it. The problem is you'll never live in Hawaii again. Once you sell that house, you'll never get another house. You may try to buy another house and you may get something that, say you get $1 million for your house and you buy a $500,000 condo. You'll get priced out of it after a while. You will not have the house you have. You will not have the lifestyle you have. And that's an unfortunate decision that many people have to make when they live out there because they can't make ends meet working 3 jobs and paying all the taxes out there. It's crazy. Right. And taxes aren't that bad for property taxes, honestly. They make a lot of money off the taxes of the tourists that come, and still it's 2 to 3 jobs to try to live.
And with the number of people leaving California, eventually it'll turn into a red state. But, how long is it going to take? And then how long is it going to take to change all the laws so that you can afford to live there?
Well, the people that live there now won't want to change the laws because they kind of like having what they got.
Right.
When I lived out there, I was one of the people that rented, but I knew many people in the areas I rented. They have FU money. They don't care. they'll just sell some stocks and make $1 million. It doesn't bother them whatsoever. The problem they're going to have is, who are they going to have to work at the resorts out there? And you're going to have that here in Duluth too. Who are you going to have to work at the regular jobs when you've priced everybody out of a house?
Yeah, and that's what they don't. Obviously, our socialist city council doesn't understand that yet. Eventually, you're running out of people's money.
Right. That's the problem with communism.
Yep.
Moving on to Minnesota news. It turns out, so Al-Shabaab is a terrorist group. It's a Sunni Islamic-based and political movement based in Somalia. Well, I got some great news for you if you live in Minnesota. Minnesota taxpayers are the largest funder of that group. So we are funding a Somali terrorist organization with our Minnesota tax dollars. We're going to leave this article up for people to look at, but it's pretty telling that of all the things that we do during the day to work and make money to support ourselves, to help our families, they're just taking so much money from us and giving it to people like this or people that are here illegally. It needs to stop. We should be working for yourself first, for your family second, and then for, if you so choose, charity comes into play. And unfortunately, what they've done is they've taken it so that charity now, as opposed to being a charitable thing that you decide to do when you have enough money to do it, has turned it into an obligation to the government where they take money from you at gunpoint, take your money and give it to people that they deem fit, as opposed to you having your money and giving it to people you deem fit. That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, those same people would be opposed if we gave out everything to, a pro-life group or the Republican Party.
Right.
Well, we don't want the state to be giving it to a terrorist organization. Now we have to call Donald Trump and Pam Bondi to straighten this mess out.
We need to elect a governor next year that will straighten this out. And we've talked about some of the candidates now, and we have as a Republican, myself, as a conservative, we have a lot of really, really good candidates coming up, and it's going to be an interesting process to see how many are left. The endorsement's going to happen, then the primary is really late. So we've got to get this thing straightened out early next year. We can't go all the way to August before we have our candidate. But we have a lot of good candidates. We need to get the best one who can beat Tim Walz and get him on.
We should have the primary in like February or March.
Right. Yeah. It should be very early in the year.
Yeah.
And then we can build steam with that candidate. You can't have a primary in late, going into summer. Then you've got a couple months and then that's it. You're done. Well, right. Walz is going to have primary, but he's going to win because he's the incumbent. Nobody's going to unseat him. So he's got all this momentum or whatever crazy people that seem to like him are going to vote for him. So speaking of Tim, just for fun, I'll add this to the stage.
Yeah.
Alpha News. Yeah, here's the problem. You're a retiree. They take all your money in property taxes, give it to left-wing groups to make your life harder. Congratulations. You're funding it. When are you going to have enough of this? When are you going to say, we need to stop this? When are we going to get rid of property taxes in Minnesota? I said this last year, and people looked at me like I had three heads. And now I'm seeing it in mainstream stuff, and it's great to see it. In Florida, they're really making an effort to go to not having property taxes. So what is the reason that you don't want to have property taxes? Well, if you own property and then you have to pay the government every year a certain amount of money to just own that property, and that goes up with percentages and it goes up with the estimated value of that. If you don't pay, the government will take your house. Now they will sell the house and give you money after they've gotten their cut of what they owed in property taxes.
Yep.
What that means is you don't own your land. And that's a problem. It's not private ownership. If you have to pay the government every month or every year for the privilege of owning land, you can't say you actually own it. You're renting it. because they can take it if you don't pay it. Anything where you have something and you have to pay a monthly amount, and if you don't pay it, they can take it. That's renting. That's not ownership. And we need to get rid of that. We need to have people being able to pay off their houses and know that, hey, I don't have a house payment anymore. I just have to worry about food and heat. There's
Right.
still things you have to worry about, but property tax is a big deal now. I mean, I'm paying more in property taxes now for my house than I did for the rent of my first two places that we moved to after we got married. A month.
Right. And then maybe if you cut down on your property taxes, you wouldn't have half the state population on SNAP benefits or food stamps.
Right. Yeah. A big increase, right?
Yeah. 'Cause we talked about that last week, 170% increase. It's like,
right.
Why?
Now, to be clear,
well, we got to pay property taxes.
Right. To be clear, I'm talking about your primary residence
Yep.
as a person, not a corporation. Those are the people that shouldn't have to pay property taxes. You buy a second home, you own a cabin. I'm not necessarily saying we have to get rid of all that. We need to have some money coming in. But your primary residence as a citizen, as a person that lives here, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes after you buy it off. Corporations, that's another story.
Which would be an interesting because last week at the city council meeting, they voted to ban short-term rentals until they figure out what's actually going on. And they're saying up to 40% of the Duluth single-family homes are basically commercial, are rentals.
They're rentals, and that blew me away when I saw that. I never confirmed it, but that stat is frightening.
Because if there's two sides to that. One is they all should be paying commercial property taxes,
Mm-hmm.
and two, if we set a limit of my preliminary would be 10% of single family houses. If we set that at 10%, then we would have places that would solve the homeless crisis, because now we put up 30% of these houses back on the market. You wouldn't have first time buyers competing with corporations to buy these single family homes.
Right. So the thing I don't know about the stat is, what I think I heard was 40% of the people that live here are renting. But there are apartment complexes and there are places that should be rented. So if you take that out of the equation, the real number is how many single family homes are for rent. And that's the thing that I think I agree with. 10%, 15% maybe, and that's it.
Yeah, but you would have to figure out that number. But if you want to rent, if you want to be a landlord, then you go buy and or build apartment buildings.
Right.
Not single family homes.
I agree.
So we haven't just, we can understand. So then we know what is what.
Yeah. Yeah. Eliminate that. Eliminate venture capital from being able to, or investment firms being able to buy houses. Yep. Limiting the number of single family houses that any group or individual can own, not apartment complexes, but single family homes, and then reducing that number, getting rid of any illegal aliens we have. All these things together are going to amount to housing prices coming down and people being able to find their first house, because you shouldn't have to be 40 years old having saved for 20 years before you can buy your first house.
Right.
I think in the 80s, the first time home buyer was 28 years old. That's about the sweet spot it should be. Got a couple of years in, you put some money in the bank. Now you're going to buy a house, put your investment in,
Yeah, I think it's late 40s now.
Now I actually think it's 40 is the average age.
Yeah.
And it was 28 back in the 90s. That's ridiculous. And I understand why. Housing prices are so high. And inflation is so high. How do you ever get enough money to even put that down payment? How do you find a house? And I just saw this house that's been built. It's along Rice Lake Road, and I guess it's a duplex, but you can't tell. It looks like a single home, but it's just a regular home. And I guess they want $600,000 per side.
Wow.
$1.2 million for basically a half of a house.
Right.
Oh my God. I can't fathom it. All right.
But it's the government. They have endless money.
Don't they though?
Yeah.
What's this? The University of Minnesota's taxpayer-funded pregnancy training for state workers was recently updated with new claims. What is that?
I don't know. You put that on.
I did?
Yeah.
Well, you'd think I know about it. Oh no. Okay, so that I understand now.
Okay.
This is making the claim that say that white doctors treat white patients better.
Oh, okay.
But really, it comes down to them saying that the same race of people will treat their own race better. So they're intuiting from that that's saying that white doctors treat white patients better. But if that's the case, if that's what they're training, why would any black person want anything other than a black doctor? Why would a white person want anything other than a white doctor?
Right.
Or, I don't think that's true. I think the real doctors who were trained, maybe not in the last 15 years, but before that, treated everybody like a patient. Now, you may have some individuals things you have to learn for a different race that may be different from yours, but for the most part, doctors were treating patients. That's what it was. It's only recently that it's become determined that, well, we need to have the same race person do this and that. Doesn't make any sense. I think that's just crap. But the University of Minnesota wants my money because they keep sending me things to donate to them, but they keep pulling crap like this.
Right.
I already donate to them through taxation, quite a bit actually. So I'm not going to give them anything extra.
No, so they're wasting money on that. It's kind of like that stupid Australian study that they want parents to start asking infants for permission to change their diapers. It's like, well, you had to have a study to do this. So how many millions of money did you spend
I can't believe that thing. You have to ask, can I please change you? Yeah, you don't get it, do you? Your single family, you don't like communism, but your family is communism. That's how you treat people. Everybody's kind of equal, but it's also a dictatorship. The parents are the dictators. They have to tell the kids what to do because kids are stupid. Not that they're dumb, but they're not experienced and they don't know what they're capable of. They don't know what time it is. Especially if you're in diapers, you're talking about a 0 to 2.5-year-old.
Right.
They don't know anything. You tell them when to eat, when to sleep, where to go. That's your job. That's what a good parent does. They're not free range children that just get to do whatever they want. You train them right and there won't be problems later on. It's the people that let their kids do anything, make the rules. That's the ones that they unleash them on us. And we can't, they're the people that are causing all the chaos in life.
That's what we build jails for.
Right. I don't condone any kind of, really strict parenting. I was a pretty loose parent, but I was strict about some things. You just have to have boundaries. Kids have to know what the rules are so they can live within them and test the boundaries.
Right.
But your job as a parent is to do what has to be done. And if that means kid needs a change, it's not a, can I change you? It's you're getting changed right now. Right.
Yeah. I mean, how stupid. It means the baby, a 3-day-old baby is smarter than the parent.
It's the same thing about what's your gender. Going to kindergarten, I talked about this last week. It was, okay, are you feeling more feminine or more masculine today? You're asking a kid something he has no idea about. How about you feeling happy or sad today? That I can get. That's an emotion. This other stuff is just conditioning.
Yes.
Let's talk about property taxes once again. Wayzata School Board approved a special election to cover a new facility, including a swimming pool. How much is this new facility going to cost? $496 million. Jeez. That's property taxes. So that's just the people in Wayzata. Now, I know people in Wayzata are higher up. You know, they are, that is very expensive property. That's a very rich community. But really, $500 million to build a facility for school? When does this end?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's so ridiculous. You know, at what point does it end? You know, that they just come and take your money, just steal from you.
Well, the
Well,
good
we
news is it
want
goes up
this.
for a vote. It goes up for a vote, just like they did this last year in Duluth. The funny thing about this is an April election, so it's an off election. It's off election thing you're going to vote for. They do
Yeah.
this on purpose to get low voter turnout, and then they get the people who really want it to go and vote. It didn't work last time in Duluth. In Duluth, they knocked it down because they tried to get an increase in property taxes on top of what we're already spending.
Right.
And it's time to stop. You know, I'm trying to question why we don't have more kids. So send kids to school and you have a big screen and one teacher is teaching the whole class, and you know, the other people are there as, you know, basically just bouncers. We're spending way too much on per student to educate kids, and they're not getting the education they need. You can see that from reading and writing skills and math skills. So it's time to do something differently, and throwing money at it is not going to be the answer. And I'm sorry to all you teachers out there who think that this is a great thing to keep spending more and more money because then we'll get it right sooner or later. You're not getting it right. I'm not blaming the teachers necessarily. I can definitely blame some teachers, and some teachers do a great job with as little as they have and are trying to crank out real useful people to the society. So those people I like. The ones that are there to catch a paycheck and just push your social experiment down your throat, they need to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to spend money on a study, not when to change it, not asking permission to your baby if you want to change it, do a study on how to increase reading and writing scores and math scores.
Right.
That's money well spent. Is what do we have to do to get our kids to think at grade level?
The thing that drives me crazy, and it was happening to us when we went to school. They keep trying different ways. How are we gonna fix this? People have been learning to write for thousands of years. They were teaching calculus back in ancient Greece.
Yep.
It's got to be a method. Just do it. Just do the method. Right. The great thing about when we went to school, I thought, was when we did math, everybody learned math the same exact way. It was harder for some, easier for others, but we did math the same. You know what the beauty of that was? If I had a problem with math, I can go to Dave and say, I don't understand how to do this, and you're going to know how to do it the way I know how to do it. You just teach me. When my kids went to school, I swear to God, in fourth grade, it was, I need help with this. Okay, let's see. How do you I start putting it up structured way that we did it. No, that's not how we're doing it. We're doing it with squares now. What? Yeah, you got to count the edges on the squares and fill in these, do the shading. And next week it was something else. And it was like, I do have I was 3 credits short of a major in math in college.
Right.
I put, but I didn't take it because I have my computer science degree. So I minored in math and accounting, and I couldn't figure out what they were trying to teach the kids.
Yeah. I mean, we had like Calc 5 in college.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help the kid at all with her high school math. It's like, I have no idea how you're getting this. I mean, I could get the answer right in about 3 seconds, but I couldn't even figure out how she was getting taught.
You couldn't explain how to show the work.
Correct.
Because it didn't make any sense. I do remember going to my son's 4th grade teacher when they were trying to teach exponential numbers, and he had a cheat sheet for how to do it. And it was just absolutely 100% wrong.
Yeah.
And so I had to go to his class. I went there early, and before he showed up, and there was another teacher there, and I said, let me just run this past you because I want to make sure that I'm not misremembering this. And I put it up the exponential, and here's how you do exponential numbers. And she's like, I was never very good at math. This is 4th grade math. So then the teacher finally showed up and I explained to him how to do it. And he's like, oh, I was never good at math. It just worked for this one. So I thought that was the right way to do it. That's not how you teach math to kids. I don't know how many of them got screwed up. I mean, if I hadn't seen that homework, he never would have known how to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's my experience with grade school teachers back in the 90s. I can only imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember our math teacher knew how to do math.
Yeah.
Crazy. Isn't it?
Yeah. Then again, I could think of that Iranian guy that was my Calc 2 teacher telling us we should be able to visualize structure and spheres and volume in the air. I can't do that. You may be able to do that. I can't do that. So if I can't, how do I learn it otherwise?
Right.
All right.
Yeah, we kind of went off topic of property taxes.
Well, let's talk about property tax again. So if they're asking for $496 million for us in Wayzata, Minnesota's could be facing $950 million in property tax increases next year alone. Hey, make sure you realize too, it's also on top of the Family Leave Act, which small businesses are going to eat the cost for. It's all this county taxes going up 12%. It's the city taxes going up 5%. The gas tax is going up.
Yep.
And now $950 million in more property taxes for the state. Nicely done, guys.
Yeah. And so I kind of looked at the old numbers, and this is one of the highest increases per year over the last it looks like it's 5-6 years. So
since 2019.
So it's just tax and spend, if because none of the inflation that Biden put out affect anybody but the government, basically. So the government needs to cover themselves by raising taxes. Nobody else can. But
you can't even say, well, at least if nothing else, it's because the people in Minnesota need this and it's the citizens getting the money. It's not. It's getting farmed out to Somalia, apparently, and to terrorist organizations and to illegal aliens and all their social benefit programs that they're having. It's not for things I would support. We need to start getting opt-outs on some of these things that they build up.
Yeah. And I was kind of thinking,
you fund it.
And I was kind of thinking about, I seen a thing on, to go off on a tangent here again, it was waitresses want 30% now for tipping because of inflation. But I was thinking, about it, is like, well, the prices of everything is rising. So even at your same number, 20%, where it's kind of you're going to make more money because everything else is going up. So why do you need a higher percentage? Because you're already making more off the same 20%. You're making inflation adjusted on that. So why does the government need 8% more than already inflated? They're already getting the inflated number too.
Right.
So, but now they're asking for 8% more over the top of that. So,
and it keeps going up.
Yeah, it just keeps going up.
They increase the price of everything, and then they take more percentage. Same with property taxes. Raise your property taxes, raise your house value. What if I never sell the house? It doesn't matter. Did it cost more to get water to my house? No. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Perfect sense.
Right.
Minnesota Democrat Leah Finke. That guy that dresses up like a woman.
No, it's obviously a woman, as you can clearly tell.
Spicoli? Is that you? So it looks like he's saying that the ICE is a Gestapo and Trump is a child rapist. Well, that's really leaving you open to a lawsuit, isn't it?
Yeah.
You better bring the documentation for that if that's what you're going to claim. So I would be more than happy to see him go to jail or get fined for that if it's not true. If he can prove it, I got a different problem. But
right. And Alpha News contacted Finke's office for any evidence backing the child rapist allegation, but did not receive a response. Therefore, I mean, MSNBC and CNN, we'd hear about that every single day if he was. If even
you know what? If there was proof of that, I got a major issue with that. That would be a big thing on me too. I don't think so because, as we're going to talk about just a little bit about the Epstein files, but if they had any evidence or even could manufacture evidence of that kind, it would have been out.
Right.
Put a pin in that. We'll come back to it in like a minute. I'm just going to get through this thing, but I want to talk about this guy saying that ICE is the Gestapo. You constantly are seeing videos when people are getting sprayed with pepper spray or something, or getting arrested. They're instigating it. They're walking up, they're screaming at them, they're throwing things, they're blocking the way. If all they did was stand on the corner or on the street where they're supposed to, there would be none of that.
Correct.
So don't start none, won't be none. That's what it comes down to. Stay out of their face. Stop trying to instigate this just so you can get a video of them responding to you at some point. And they will respond. They've gotten some of the gloves taken off of them so they can actually respond and take care of issues. You're blocking the way. You need to move. You get a warning, and then you're taken out. And not taken out like literally. Well, not taken out permanently. You were taken off the scene, arrested. And that's the way it should be.
Or bear spray or maced.
Yes, they're getting maced and moved off, and sometimes even arrested after that. Which
it's what do you call it? Blocking an investigation, interfering with an investigation. That's what you're doing.
They're just impeding the road too. They're just trying to get the cars in and out. But if they're trying to arrest somebody and they're in their way, they're impeding an arrest. Yeah, you're going to get arrested yourself. Sooner or later, it'll go through. Soros is going to run out of money sooner or later to bail these people out.
Yeah.
And they're going to find out very soon how little he actually cares about them if they get into trouble. They're going to be on their own, swinging alone.
Well, that was the next question: is how do these people know? I mean, how do they organize so quickly? Because the ICE people move very quickly, and then on the marked vehicles, they come in, arrest the criminals, and leave. How are these people knowing where they're going all the time?
Great question.
That would have to be the next problem is, find out who's actually doing, spreading the word and putting them in jail.
Yep, I agree. All right, last thing. Wow, we had a lot of Minnesota news tonight.
Yeah.
Walz to propose official socialist caucus for Minneapolis City Council in January. Democrat Socialist Caucus that will focus on, among other things, $20 an hour minimum wage because, government needs their money, rent control, and city-owned grocery stores. So they're going full-on communist. They're really not a socialist organization because they will enforce this with force.
Right. And look behind her on the picture. What does that say at the top?
Abolish the police.
Yeah. So that's just the level of stupidity that's going on that one. So
well, they're darn close to it there. And looking at the activists we just got onto the Duluth City Council, we're going down that path.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't like socialism, you better start, getting the right people in office.
Right.
We're not doing that.
Start paying attention to what these guys are doing to you and stop complaining about it if you're getting it done to you because you are voting these people in that are doing it.
Right.
All right. We're going to go to national news, and I think we're going to actually scream through this a lot faster than we did this other thing. We're going to talk about the Epstein files because they have been passed through the House, the Senate, and the president has signed the papers to get the Epstein files released. I don't know what they're going to include. I don't know if that's just going to be flight logs or if it's going to be hopefully other things, which is who was doing. Maxine Gazwell is in prison for prostitution of underage women to men. I don't know if it's just that. I don't know if that's the whole universe of it, but she's in jail. None of the men that were the Johns are in jail. That's where it should be going to. So it's good that they're getting laid out. And I just don't know, Dave, did Donald Trump do a rope-a-dope on the Democrats to get this thing finally released? Did he tempt them into it by saying he didn't want it released or didn't care about it so that they would sniff that there was maybe something about him in it and then get it released and force the issue now? And they've said all these things. Well, you're a horrible person. You were on this Epstein list. Now he's not on the list, but Bill Clinton is. What are you going to say about Bill?
Right. And you know he's trolling the daylights out of the left, because if there was something, there was something on Trump, something on a high level Republican, because Biden is the one that found this out originally. If there was something on him, they would have already presented it. They didn't.
Right.
So now that they're not in power anymore, Trump made them switch sides, and now it's going to get thrown to the public, and they're going to realize they're going to put all the Democrats in jail, just like, they tried in New York with the sexual abuse case.
Yeah.
They ended up putting, Eric Adams, who got in trouble, and putting all these Democrats in trouble. I just seen a story on Kevin Spacey. He's basically homeless now for covering his tracks because of the same thing, because of the sexual encounters that he was accused of. So
yeah, if he did this, if he actually trolled them into making that list public, God, I love it. I mean, just love it. So we've talked about what they're going to actually, come out with, and we've talked about this flight log. So there's a couple things I want to talk about, and I think I've said before in other shows, but if somebody was on a plane with Epstein that doesn't really, if they're going from point A to point B, probably not. I mean, you can't really take too much out of it, but probably if you're 5 or 10 trips, we know what Epstein was like.
Yeah.
Some shade on you, but at that time, that's just plane rides, right? You could be doing it to get favor or something. Going out to the island. Now you had this island that was basically for this kind of activity, and that's probably where all the bad stuff was happening. Isolate it out, make people think they're okay, videotape them, blackmail them. That's probably what was happening.
Right.
If you went out to that island once, I can accept an argument saying that you didn't know what was happening. When you went out there, you found out what was happening, and you never went again. I can accept that, but I don't really like it, because if you found out something was happening, you should have been reporting that to the authorities and trying to get something to stop it.
Yeah.
But if you went once, I'm not full on saying you're probably a problem. If you went more than once, and if you went multiple times, then you're in on it.
Correct.
You're most likely in on it. And well, I can't say for sure, but you're most likely in on it. And I think they're going to have videotaped you, and you were probably being blackmailed. But why would you do that? Why would you want to be with teenage girls? It doesn't compute to me. Sure, they're cute, but why? They're kids. My God, if you're
Children.
18 and over, they're kids. You don't do that to kids. You ruin their whole lives. What the hell's wrong with you, man? I mean, that's just sick.
You're the adult. Your job as an adult is to protect children, protect the kids, not to exploit them.
Right. Well, who's Bill Belichick? He's was the coach for New England Patriots.
Yeah.
You seen his wife?
Yeah. She's 26 or something like that.
Yeah, 26, 28 years old. Now, she's definitely old enough to make her own decisions. And if that's works out for them. But I can't imagine being with a 28-year-old. Now, I know kids, 28-year-old, will talk to them, but you can't have a conversation with them like at your level. You don't have the same experiences. You don't have the same memories and things you grew up with. And, they're not going to know, where's the beef? You say that, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You might get a chuckle out of somebody your own age, but I've never understood that.
Hey, look, a dial-up telephone. What's that?
Yeah. So And that talk about we're getting on tangents tonight. My God.
Yeah, we can't stay on subject at all. So
I can't. No, it's too close to Thanksgiving.
right.
Bill and Hillary refused the subpoena to testify about Epstein. So what are you going to talk about with Bill and Hillary now? What's your what Adam Schiff? What are you talking about? Prosecution or of those who refuse to comply with the lawful subpoena that is vital to ensuring congressional oversight has teeth. Otherwise, Congress cannot function. So there's Adam Schiff, who I hate. I mean, not hate, but I disagree with most of his stuff, and I think he's a creepy guy. Let's put it that way. I agree. I mean, if you're getting subpoenaed, there should be some teeth behind it. You should have to go. And they subpoenaed people that were close to Trump when Joe Biden was in charge, and they put them in jail. Steve Bannon. So be consistent. If you're going to do it to them, I would love as my bucket list is to see Hillary Clinton in orange jumpsuit being perp walked into the courthouse. I really love it. Would love to see that.
Yeah.
That being said, we don't talk about the Clintons here, Dave. Okay, we're safe.
A mugshot would be really nice.
Wouldn't it though? It would be very nice.
But we are doing this this podcast from Guadalajara in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's nice outside.
Woo, so steamy out.
Yep.
And speaking of Epstein, while the Epstein file trials were going on or things were going on in Congress, there was a representative that was getting coached literally by Epstein himself, texting her. So the House they were going to censure this person, but they didn't do it because just like every other time, just enough Republicans decided to vote against it so she wouldn't get censored because they protect each other. And I would love it if the people that keep doing this were voted out of office. This is along the lines of don't just vote for a Democrat because they're a Democrat. Primary these people. They're clearly not out for you. They're out for their own selves. And yeah, here it is. The House didn't censure this person, Plaskett, coached by Jeffrey Epstein himself during an anti-Trump committee hearing. And there's the votes. Just enough, not more than enough, but just enough. There's always enough to make sure nothing happens.
This was after he was convicted.
Right. Yeah, he'd already been convicted of what, rape or something like that?
Yeah, whatever put him in jail. I don't remember the specifics. I don't remember the specifics, but yeah, he was already heading to jail, basically. So,
okay, so we've covered Epstein.
yeah,
great. Get it out there. Get some people in jail. And the thought that it's a national security thing, why we can't release the names. Why is that? That means that there's some people that have a lot of information that are on a list that can be blackmailed by somebody. That should be a real big problem to a lot of people. Let's talk about the Vatican walls. So can you pop that up? I just want to show, and this was our image for tonight too. So to scroll down or close that thing where it says, I urge heads of state and the leaders of nations to listen to the cry of the poorest. There can be no peace without justice. The poor remind us of this in many ways through migration, as well as through their cries, which are often stifled by the myth of well-being and progress. Scroll up a little bit now. No, just go back and scroll up.
Well, it said,
yeah, go to the top. DC Drano. All we want is the same wall as the Vatican to keep illegal aliens out. That wall is around the Vatican. That is valid. It's several feet thick, several 100 feet tall. That's what we want. So the Vatican's saying that virtue signaling from the Vatican saying, let somebody into the Vatican. Open those doors. Take down that wall.
Right.
Until then, wear your funny hat, do your business, and shut up about U.S. policy. And, I've said this before. Catholics I know, the rank and file Catholics are great people. and they actually believe the Bible and try to do a Christian life. That leadership, though, is messed up. From the Pope down to the next 3 levels down, I wouldn't want to be in a room alone with them.
And that's a problem right now with the people leaving the Catholic Church is the leadership. So
and
that's what
why.
That's what the studies show. So
yeah, you definitely understand that. All right, next article.
Tiring, but what do you do?
That's what this show is all about.
Right.
Get one thing up here, and then we'll go on to the next thing, which is the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan. He weighed in on the residents' complaint about mosques' call to prayer. And his thing was, it's not an issue. So for some reason now, these cities, Minneapolis included, has started doing this calls to prayer several times during the day and very early in the morning. So the citizens of the city call in and complain and say, hey, we don't like it. The mayor's response, it's not a problem.
Right.
He's a Muslim, by the way, Abdullah Hamid. So he did, he's just protecting his own. So the separation of church and state, the freedom of religion, it doesn't really work when the Muslims take over your city. And there's more than, I think it's 60% of the population is Muslim now in that city. So good luck.
Yeah, and I heard somebody explain it because they said, well, the Catholic churches, you can hear their bells too, so therefore you should be able to have a Muslim thing. Well, someone explained it where the Catholic bells at the church are just making pretty noises, where the Muslim call to prayer is a direct order from the church to do something.
Right.
Completely, one's just a pretty noise. The other one is a direct call, and this is what you have to do. That's a direct order from the church. So they're on completely different levels. So,
yeah, and if you want to do it once a week, that's one thing. This is multiple times a day, every single day.
Yeah, 5 times a day.
You hear church bells. I don't hear any of them myself. I don't know of any bells. I may hear St. Scholastica. That's about it. But if you do it, it's on Sunday. Well, your mayor, you voted the mayor in, and now you're going to live with it. This next one just boils my potato, though. This is New York City, Eric Adams. He went to Israel and put the hat on, and he said to them, I wanted to come back here to Israel and let you know that I served you as the mayor. That's just flat out treason. You don't go to another country, and I'm not picking on Israel because I don't care what country it is. You don't go over there and say, I worked for you as mayor of a U.S. city. That guy shouldn't be allowed back in the United States.
No.
You work for him, you go live there.
Yeah, especially even Fry down in the Minneapolis, he gave his victory speech in Somalian.
Right.
He didn't even speak English.
Right.
Throw him out.
Oh God, it would be nice. Well, and so what was the alternative? What was the alternative to Fry?
Right.
That other guy. And he didn't win because the Somali they're not camps, but they're faction. One faction didn't want the other faction in. That's the only reason that guy lost. Otherwise, if they'd united, he'd have been in. So good stuff coming through.
Welcome to Minnesota.
Gotta get happier again, Dave. God, what happened? We got to be it's supposed to be a happy time.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next thing? I lost my place. This bridge in St. Louis, the bridge that got collapsed. So far, the price tag on it is 2 times more than what they originally thought, and it's climbing. And it was 1.9 billion. Now it's 5.2. Yeah, so it's basically a rounding error, right? Went from 2 billion to 5.2. Over twice as much, 2.5 times as much. My God. Oh, look at it. So they're rebuilding this bridge going from Duluth over to Superior. I wonder how much that's actually going to cost.
Yeah, I know it was in the billions. I don't remember I don't remember the exact number though, but I thought it was so, about a month ago, I heard on the news something about something up on the range that they were rebuilding this thing, and they said, "Oh, it's not going to cost the taxpayers any money because of federal and state grants."
Interesting.
Where do you think where do they get the money from? It's ridiculous.
That's good. God.
Don't you think this through for 2 seconds? That where do they get their money from?
It is a problem, but people don't realize that the money they took, all the money going out there is money they took from you and allocated it over there.
So,
all right, I want to go over digital IDs a little bit. Let's talk about this. 5 reasons to say no to digital ID. You lose your privacy. Every move, purchase, and interaction could be logged. Centralized control. You don't want centralized control, trust me. Data breaches. Once you breach the data, it goes out to everybody and they take your stuff. Exclusion. This is a bad one. You don't have an ID. You don't have access. And this is what it comes down to with social scores in China. They can take away your ID, and then there's a lot of people living homeless in China because they can't get rent, or they can't rent a place because their digital ID has been taken away.
Yeah.
And then once it becomes required, basically it's over. So those are some things about digital ID, and it has been said that a full tank of gas in your car and a pocket full of cash is freedom, and a battery powered car and a credit card is just control. Because remember, think of the 15-minute cities they did in England. Yeah. They were trying to box people in so you couldn't even leave your little area. They can only do that if they put controls on, and they can shut off your car, and they can docket you money. And that's what they're going for.
Yeah, so then they'll have ultimate control, because we said last week, if they can feed you, they can also starve you.
Right. They can stop feeding you.
Yeah. So if you're relying on them for SNAP benefits, the food stamp program, well, they can shut that off and starve you to death. So
exactly.
That's just the first one minuscule step. Digital ID is the far end of that stick, basically. Mm-hmm. So
you've had enough meat this month. You can't buy anymore.
Yeah.
You've driven too much. You can't purchase any more gas. That's where it leads to. And right. It's not people that you may think that's a great thing until the people you don't like are in charge of that thing. Then you're really going to hate it, because what happens when the group gets in that doesn't like what you do?
Right.
A lot of these people just say, well, it doesn't affect me. I just like to do biking. Well, shut your bike off, or you're going to start paying $100 to go on the bike pass because we need the money. Not getting it from the cars, things like that. Think about the more control they have, the more likely it is you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing in national news. Right. Last thing in national news, DeSantis wants to end property taxes. DeSantis is a guy, to me, I think he showed a lot when he went against Trump, trying to get the nomination this last time. I don't think I trust him really that much, but he is not completely wrong. And I like this at all. Why be a serf to the state? If you stop paying property taxes after owning a home for, say, 50 years, the government takes your property from you. Exactly what I'm saying. Thank you for watching, DeSantis. Ron, we love having you on the show. Let us know if you can come on, because he's clearly listening to us, Dave. We pioneered this thought.
Exactly.
All right. Let's go on to international news, shall we?
We have that? Yeah, we do.
We only have the one article. Government may soon slow down your car without your permission to make roads safer. Of course, it's to make things safer, Dave. We have to make things safer. So without your consent, your car will be communicated to and you will slow down, which also means you can get sped up. And people have been talking about this for a long time. When people have crashes, they're talking about not being able to hit the brakes and your car speeding out of control and slamming into something. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying people have talked about it. So if they can speed you up, they can slow you down, they can take over your car, shut it off. you've driven enough today, this month, Dave. Your carbon footprint's a little too high. You're not going to be able to drive your car until the end of the month.
Yeah, in Europe, they're basically mandating the software be put into the new vehicles that they're manufacturing, so that the government will have control of your car. To see if you're speeding. If you are speeding, they'll just send you a ticket because the car will tell on you, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So
take a picture of you sitting in the driver's seat, send it off so they know it's you.
Yeah. So you might look in your backyard and see a '63 Duster sitting back there, or an Opel GT, but now you can drive it without the government.
Opel.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a sad
German
development.
car.
Yeah.
All you got on the road is Opels and Yugos.
Yeah. But at least you can drive it without the government paying every single, But even in Europe, they're trying to eliminate cars over, that are older than 15 years. They're trying to mandate that you can't repair them. So
I honestly think that's the cash for clunkers thing that happened during the Obama administration too.
Yeah.
Got to get these older cars that aren't dependent on electronics or that don't have tracking on them, get them off the road. We can't have that.
Right.
Genius, right? Because you'd sell a car and it'd be a perfectly good car and they would brick it. They would destroy that car. You can't drive it. Once you sold it to them, it was not coming back. And the problem is that when we were kids, people in high school, we were driving, if you were lucky enough to have a car, it was a beater you got secondhand.
Correct.
Nobody was driving luxury cars like they do today. You go to high school today, it looks like Beverly Hills. I mean, they're all better than my truck. We talk about this at the gym. You can always tell when the college is there playing volleyball because all the cars are newer than ours and better looking and really, really expensive.
But this boils right back down to digital ID. Is we have to be in front of it to stop the government from controlling every single thing you do, everything you eat, everything because it will get to everything you say. Governor Walz is trying to get rid of your guns. Why? Because he doesn't want to hear what you have to say. Because once they get rid of your guns, then they can get rid of your speech.
That's the start. I mean,
and this is
a
part of
major hurdle for them, for us to be able to be armed, and they have to deal with that. They can't stand it.
Right. And this is part of their control is, well, we can save some lives. If we save just one life, it'll be worth controlling everybody,
It's always a safety thing. They get you in, they slide in with safety, and then they just take the hammer.
And take away your freedoms.
All right, we'll go on to the last article here about, we're going to health and fitness.
Health and fitness.
I want to talk about mRNA and beef. So they're basically going in and we're at the precipice of being forced to inject our cattle with mRNA vaccines. This is Nicole Shannon. She said, if the government can mandate what goes into livestock, they can mandate what goes into you. If they can alter the food supply without consent, they can bypass every individual's right to bodily and autonomy. And then she said the quiet part out loud. So this is this X post that is just black right now. She says, let's talk about the Nuremberg trials. The principles of the heart of the Nuremberg trial was simple. No human being can be experimented on or medicated without full informed consent. So if they're doing this to you, remember what happened in the Nuremberg trials? You remember what happened to the guys that were tried in the Nuremberg trials? That could happen here too. You can't inject stuff into what we eat to be able to make it go into us. That is experimentation. We need full consent, and we need to not have that in our beef. And I've also heard that since Bill Gates has been involved with some beef, there's been a huge jump in people that have this allergy to meat after they have had his stuff.
Okay.
I can see that. I mean, I heard of a tick that if you get bitten by a certain tick, you are allergic to meat, which would be awful.
Right.
But we can't have them injecting our food products because we're resisting doing their injections that they want us to get.
I seen an interesting article this week about Bill Gates talking about, why he is all of a sudden against climate change is because he's heavily invested in AI centers, data centers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that he's making money off of it, then that's okay. So
yeah, your morals are guided because of the business you're in. You don't have any morals.
Right.
You're just virtue signaling. And Bill Gates has been doing that forever. He's, in my opinion, a very creepy guy. And he could just go and live on his own with his billions of dollars and be happy, but he can't do it. He has to get involved in everybody's lives, and he needs to go away. And I think there's a warrant out for his arrest in India.
Not to sidetrack us again.
No. We wouldn't want to get off track.
No.
All right. And one more thing with health and fitness.
Yeah. I had to put the banner up to remind us what we're talking about. So
I'm just going to put this up, and I'm not really going to comment too much about it. Let's just add it to the stage. It is interesting that once something becomes easy to do, it's no longer a horrible thing to do. But when it's hard to do, then it's something that's just being mean. All right. I'm not even going to go off on that. That's it. That's the whole thing. Ready for the word of the day?
Yes.
Lay it on us, Dave. What's the word of the day?
This week we went with propaganda. Because last week was introspective, where you had to, look at your own beliefs inside of you to determine, what you believed and stuff like that, and researching. Well, this sort of along the same lines as propaganda is, any form of adversary communication, especially of a biased or misleading nature, designed to influence the opinions, emotion, attitudes, and behavior of any group in order to benefit the sponsor, either directly or indirectly. And the side one, it was information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a particular political cause or point of view. So we're back to, just because you hear it on the news, go research it. Don't believe it. If you hear it on The View, don't believe it. Go research it. Do your own introspective. Find out what you believe it and what you think is the correct way to do things, what your belief system is, and then go research it. Don't believe the propaganda from the news, from anybody. Go research it. Go find out someone that you trust and believe, and verify that this information is true.
You ready for my tangent? I've got two tangents. Remember during COVID-19, when you were told, don't do your own research. It's bad. It was bad to do your own research during COVID-19. Number 2, Smith-Mundt Act. You know what that is?
I did read about it this year, but now I can't remember what it was.
1948, after World War II, when they started really perfecting propaganda. Remember, the British were very good about propaganda against the Nazis.
Yep.
There was a law passed here that said, in America, the government can't do propaganda against American citizens. Right? So they were fully aware of what was able to be done in the war. So what they did was they said, you can't do it.
Right.
And that law was repealed during the Obama administration. And things have gotten horrible since then. We need to reestablish that law. So the U.S. government should not be doing propaganda against us.
Correct.
We are the bosses. The government works for us. We're the people that they should report to. And as soon as they forget that, they start doing stuff like this, which is propaganda against us. We need to eliminate that.
Absolutely.
All right, Dave. Rant's over.
Our tangents are over for the day.
Tangents are over.
Maybe that should
go
have
on
been
for
the word
another
of the day.
couple hours, but yeah.
Maybe I should have made that the word of the day, tangent.
Maybe next week, yeah. So next week is Thanksgiving. We're not going to do a show on Thursday. We will do it on Wednesday night. We'll probably do some turkey awards or something like that. We'll try to make it fun. Get some
Yep.
cool banner. I don't know. Dave will dress up like a pilgrim. I don't know. We'll figure that out next week. Dave's like, that's not happening. All right. I'm going to put up the like and subscribe thing, so we don't have to do that.
Yeah,
There we
missed
go.
the word.
Like
I
and
didn't know we had the
subscribe.
banner for that one, but
Yeah, no, we're good with this. And I just want to say thank you all. Thank you all for watching. We're going to be here next week again. We're going to talk about some issues. We're going to have some fun. Thank you for coming on. Hang loose. And until next week, I'm Sean.
I'm Dave.
This has been Duluth Conservative. We'll see you next week. Have a good night.